heard. You're not here. Make sure they can hear me. Switch this scene real quick. What's going on, you guys? This is Addict. We back at the Addict Show, man. Let me make sure I F11 this. There we go. Gotta have it look professional, man. We gotta have it look professional. Definitely, you know, there's actually some stuff to talk about today. You know, this morning, Cog, I was thinking maybe I shouldn't do it because I don't normally like going on here if there's like literally nothing to talk about. But I woke up to like 30 notifications. Like, well, something happened.
I went down.
And it looks like PlayStation out there, they dropping a little bit of money. And we ain't gonna say it's like Microsoft money, but they dropping some pennies and dimes in the right corners. And you know, I think that's one of the things that people want to hear about more. So we're gonna go ahead and get on with the show. You know, welcome to the Addict Show, where we speak about the past, future, and present of gaming. I got Cognito with me. What's funny is Cognito mentioned a couple days ago. He's like, "When are you having the Addict show? Because I ain't been on it before." And he was asleep this morning when I went to do the promo, and I was like, "Well, I guess I should promo him." And then I was thinking, "Well, he's kind of asleep. I don't know if he can." So I put in the tweet in like parentheses, "He's asleep. I don't know." Like,
yeah, that I'm glad you did that because I was asleep and I looked at the tweet. I was like, "Oh yeah, I got Addict show today. Let me get moving out here." You know what I'm saying? But yo, I had to do it. You know what I'm saying? The Ninja and the Wolf combined on your show. You know what I'm saying? Only right that I had to be on here so we could talk our talk. You know what I'm saying? What's going on? Yo, it's like 100 degrees in New York City, so you have to excuse my informalness because right now my AC struggling. It's crazy out here. Just wanted to put y'all on to what's going on out here.
oh, it's really struggling, man. It's really
Yeah,
struggling.
it's hot. East Coast is hot, y'all. So that's what this is. A little informal. Ninja the Wolf.
So first thing, we're gonna talk about obviously PlayStation buying one studio, potentially two. Then we'll talk about like, because I see a lot of speculation going on what exactly people want Microsoft to do in the future in terms of studio acquisitions, in terms of what type of games they want to make, what type of game studios want to make, and just general the direction of the company itself. And then we're gonna talk a little bit about XCloud and how they've leveled up the infrastructure of the the blades and stuff, because I feel like that's a lot more important than a lot of people are laying it on to be. But so I feel like we should let's just start with the PlayStation, man, because I feel like that's one of the biggest things, and it really seems like Cognito. I didn't know this, Cognito, but it's okay to talk about accusations again. Like a couple weeks ago, an Xbox dude would be like, "Yo, they brought in Cry. It's like, let's talk about games." But now it looks like, the pendulum's come down on the other side. And so when you woke up, because obviously you was asleep when this happened, what's the first thing you thought of when you see that they bought? I ain't even trying to pronounce their name. The people who made Housemarque, the people that made Returnal. What was the first thing you thought about that?
It makes sense. It makes sense. I mean, the relationship is there. These are one of those situations. Obviously, Returnal did well for them. This is one of those situations, man. We're in an acquisition phase, and I've already said this from Xbox standpoint, and PlayStation. I figured would do the same, and these were like, Housemarque was always a name that made perfect sense. The relationship was there. Obviously, we've seen what Returnal is doing out there, and they seem to have that investment with them. So, look. This is what we call it. It's cuffing season. So you gotta wife these studios out, man. Like, because here's the thing. At the end of the day, it's like, if you don't, people are lurking. People are lurking, and one of those things as far as like besides Microsoft and Amazon and obviously Google's kind of cooled off a little bit, but it would make sense for PlayStation to make these type of commitments internally. So I think it's a great move, and I'm looking forward to see what they got going on. Wait, what do you think though?
Obviously, I made a video about it today. I was like, look, like, this isn't going to move the needle because for the most part, it's like Playground Games, Undead Labs. These games are already being made PlayStation exclusive, so it's not like for instance, if they would have bought something like maybe a Square Enix, obviously I'm just shooting a random name out there, that would have been a little bit more impactful because you're making games exclusive. But for the most part, they are doing these because Microsoft's out there shopping around. It is much kind of relationship that Housemarque and Sony have. Microsoft dropped the right bag. That's going out the window. So they're like, we got to marry this studio, man. We can't be letting things just be out in the wind, and then we come out to fund another game. We're like, oh, we've been bought. I'm sorry, Sony, you got to go somewhere else. And there's actually a lot of speculation and rumor out there that that's the reason that Insomniac was bought, is because they want to make sure that they own these studios. And I think, for the most part, maybe. Do you think because they actually own the studio now that they might, maybe double down in terms of, what type of quality and the budget that they have? Or do you think that they might just keep it going the same way?
I mean, generally what we tend to hear when these deals are talk about, and like these things are kind of worked on for a while, from a legality standpoint. Shout out to Hogan. Shout out to 500 episodes, Hogan. Salute to him. But like usually when we speak to Hogan, these deals tend to happen way in advance. It's just that we hear about them in the public late. So I assume they've got projects cooking up. You know, they've got some things going on. But to your question, yeah, I think the investment's going to be there. You're going to see, you know, you're going to see Sony really deep. I mean, look at this. Like Returnal got a nice little shine to it. You know what I'm saying? As far as I'm
It
concerned,
does.
yeah.
Like
From a,
there's a lot of issues I have with the game, but as
mm-hmm,
far as like the way that the game is made, I like
mm-hmm,
It's a solid game. I do feel like there's a lot of little improvements that they could have made to do different things,
mm-hmm.
but I don't. I've never thought that it was, you know, no room for improvement. I think it's a solid foundation.
Yeah.
Kind of feel like how I feel like about Rise Son of Rome. I feel like
Mm.
Rise is a real solid foundation, probably an average to a little bit above average game.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like if Microsoft is able to get their hands on that IP,
Mm.
and you know, I don't know who would make it, but I feel like that title could be, you know, I don't like bringing up like verses, but it could be their God of War. It could
Well,
maybe not like the mythological stuff, but what they did in Rise, they did it well. It's just I feel like they
yeah.
needed to expand on it.
And what's cool, like we talked about Rise Son of Rome, we talk about these kind of things, and it's like we're like, damn, you know, wouldn't it be cool if Rise 2 comes out, right? And it, you know, now you look at something like Returnal, right? It had some little issues here and there. Technically, okay, fine. But people dug the concept. People love that idea, you know what I'm saying, of the biomes and starting over, stuff like that. It wasn't for me personally, but I seen you rocking out. I seen a lot of the community. Shout out to Kid Spoon. Kid Spoon was rocking out. You know what I'm saying?
Kid Snoop rocked that game straight out his ex PlayStation.
Shout out to Kid. I see you out there, Kid. But yeah, like so it goes to show you now the foundation is there. So boom. Returnal 2 now could be a potential thing. You know what I'm saying? They could build, they could do things with it. So I like that kind of stuff. And to see them with Sony's backing, part of the family, you know what I mean? But you got you got cover, man. It's the season.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
so definitely with the Returnal thing, you know, I do think that that's a big thing, but there, I think it was Tokyo, Japan, or one of those studios, man. They messed up, and instead of tweeting the Housemark image, they tweeted the Blue Point image. So it's highly likely that Sony owns both of those studios now. And to me, I feel like this one's a little bit better than the other one because, you know, as good as Housemark is, I feel like Blue Point just makes better quality games. And I think that Sony has such a vast library of stuff that they don't mess with, and a vast library of stuff that, you know, stuff like Naughty Dog's made in the past, and stuff like, you know, up until Ratchet and Clank came back. Like, I feel like a lot of people want Blue Point to make newer IPs, but I think they're fine with what they're doing now. They bring older franchises, bring it back, and then who knows, maybe if one of these older franchises they bring back gets a lot of momentum, they just let them continue that franchise as their game.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the first of all, shout out. Who is it? Was this PlayStation Japan? Shout out for PlayStation Japan. Just giving up all the information. Just out here try snitching all the students. I think it's funny. I think it's funny. Like normally Sony is airtight for the most part. So to see this happen to
But
me,
here recently, it's not really been like that. Like when we did that, they did that event last year. If
which
you
one?
remember correctly, like they had on multiple trailers that it was coming to PC, coming to other platforms,
Right.
and
Oh
then they had to come
yeah.
openly and be
You're
like,
right. You're right. You're
they had
right.
to
You're
come
right.
up and be like,
You're
yeah,
right.
we messed up. That's not
You're
supposed to
right.
happen. They had they had Gran Turismo being a PlayStation 5 exclusive in a trailer.
Right.
Yeah, the
Right.
communication there doesn't seem to be very good here recently. I don't know what's going on there. So
Yeah.
like, did you like, you know, which one of these do you think is the bigger juggernaut to actually own and not necessarily just be partnered with?
It's interest. I'm gonna surprise you. I know where you going, but I think the only reason why I say Housemark is because, correct me if I'm wrong, doesn't Blue Point make a lot of the remasters? Like they made the
Yes.
Demon Souls remaster, they made the Uncharted. So correct me, I just want to know from like original IPs.
I don't think they've ever made an original IP.
Right. Now I'm not questioning them saying that they can't get busy, but I think obviously Housemark has a little bit more experience.
You gotta be kidding me. I don't think they Can you guys still hear me? Hello? Oh, okay. It's not me, man. It's not me. It's Cognito. I thought something was wrong, man. Hold on. Let me make sure you guys can hear me. Can you guys hear me? Can you guys hear me? Okay. Cog, he had his power flip off, so I'm sure he'll come back. What? Let's talk a little bit about the potential that they have with these while I wait for Cog to come back here. I personally feel like this is a good move. Now you guys know, I've always been on that thing where I'm just like, look, like they need this studio. They need these studios in general because we can't lie. What Microsoft is doing over there is a huge movement. You can't have scenarios where Microsoft has so many studios and so many teams making a game that, sure, they might not have the best games. They might not have the best games like the Naughty Dog games, the St. Monica games, but all it takes is a lot of really good games to make it a lot easier on Microsoft. And I think they knew that. I think they know that this is one of those scenarios where they're going to have to put their money where their mouth is, and they're going to have to try to make that a little bit more even. Now, they can easily make studios be bigger, have them make multiple games, but I've always felt like it's better to have individual studios make different things than have multiple teams make different games. Because the problem with multiple teams having different games, if that A team is having issues, they're going to pull that B team off to help that A team. And that's just my opinion on the matter. But, I want you guys in the chat, tell me what studio, Bluepoint or Housemarque, which one's better? Tell me which one you think would be the best system and the best game that they could possibly make. Because me personally, I feel like it's Bluepoint. Because I just think there's so many good games that they can make. And even if they don't like strictly stay with PlayStation games, I feel like there's so much different possibilities that they have as making older games. Let's say that they didn't want to make let's say they wanted to continue and go and make something from a different company. They got that option.
They try to hate on me. The Heat try to stop me. You know what I'm saying? They try to hate on the kid. They silenced me. Sony silenced me, man. No, I apologize. Yeah, it's definitely.
Yeah, I thought my internet went out.
No, it was me that's trying. Like, my whole joint shut off. Like, because I got the AC on full tilt in an apartment, and I just seen everything go boom. So I had to shut it down. So yeah, we operating off an oscillating fan and less power now. We good. We back.
Yeah, so what I wanted to bring this back to a little bit before we go on the next topic, Hog, is what we've said for a long time is like, look, Sony. I love how the people always say Sony doesn't need to compete in terms of studios. Now, I've always been on the standpoint that they could definitely compete with the multiple teams on multiple projects, but I feel like if the longer time goes by, the more Microsoft's going to get games in the bag. At one point, is it going to be an issue? When we're here recently, what?
No, I'm sorry. What's going to be an issue? I missed that.
The issue of the differences in between studios. Like, you can have the multiple teams, but people are acting like Microsoft's not doing that too. Like, Ninja Theory don't got one game studio team.
For sure.
Like, Sony can definitely do the multiple teams to compete with the quality of games with the multiple teams. But I feel like in order to really compete in the next couple years when Microsoft gets this machine going, they're going to have more studios as well. They can't just rely on the studios that they currently have. So, and then people said, well, I love how people are attacking me on Twitter and they're saying, Addict, this has nothing to do with Microsoft. They naturally buy these studios. So I went and I looked. Like, you know how often they buy a studio? It's not often. They buy a studio like maybe every 3 or 4 years. They bought 2 studios in 3 years.
Wow.
And it's looking like they bought 3 because Bluepoint's definitely being bought. Shout out to Diller Gaming. He's hinting they bought the people that made Guilty Gear. So, and I trust Diller. Diller's usually pretty solid on that. He was hinting that on Twitter. Like, this is definitely them saying, yo, we can't let Microsoft buy everything. We got to buy some of these ourselves.
Yeah, I mean, we can't ignore the fact, even though obviously this is a PlayStation topic, right? We can't ignore the fact that Microsoft is out here in acquisition phase. We hear their name associated with everything. WB. I mean, even before, let's be real, right? It was so crazy that before E3, we were like surprised and disappointed that they ain't have nothing to announce at E3 when we heard things was cooking, right? So at the end of the day, it's like, Sony would be smart to lock these things in. Again, if you already have these relationships, you've already made these games, they work together. It makes perfect sense. The other thing I was saying before I got cut off was that, with Housemarque, obviously they have that establishment already. They have a couple of IPs. They're a little bit more seasoned. You know what I'm saying? I believe they did a Resogun too, if I'm not mistaken. But so now it's cool to see what Blue Point could do, because prior their history has been predominantly remasters, I'm assuming, in like a support kind of role. So that actually is exciting to see what they could do with their own vision.
To be honest with you, I don't think they're going to. I think
you think they're going to be stuck in remaster mode?
It's not that they're going to be stuck in remaster mode. I think there's not too many people that can bring back an old IP as well as they do, and that's a rare gift. And I don't think Sony's just going to let them run wild on new stuff, because what they did with Demon Souls, what they did with the what's that other game they made a couple years ago? The one with the giant
Shadow of the Colossus.
Shadow of the Colossus. Not every studio can do stuff like that. It takes special studios, a special talent, and a special vision to bring older games back into the new world in a decent way. And I feel like it would be different if they went out and they had a new IP and then Sony's like, yeah, let's buy them off that. But they really have only done this. So to me, I mean, Sony could possibly give them that opportunity, but I'm just looking at it from a perspective of what they've done for Sony up till now. To me, they're buying them to lock that talent down because they don't want other people doing it.
I feel that, but Addict, if you go put a ring on it, you gotta let them do something around the house.
I mean, they do stuff around the house. See,
you got them cooking and cleaning and doing other stuff.
Here's the thing, though. Sony don't need just they got multiple wives. This is the one that comes off on like the Saturdays between the Naughty Dog and Insomnia. This isn't a studio that they're going to put invest a ton of money behind.
I feel you on the price. You ain't throwing the bat, but if you go put a rig on it, they got to do something. They got to contribute one. They got to do something.
They've been contributing.
They just gonna be the remaster studio. That's it.
I mean, that's all they've really ever done.
That's their history.
Games. I feel like at this point, if they were gonna do something fresh, they'd have done it by now. They've made 4 games for them.
All right, so let's go at it. So why? If that's the case, why don't they just keep them as is and let other support studios just come in?
Because they don't want someone like Microsoft buying them and having Microsoft do the same shit they want to do with them. Because at the end of the day, Sony has a huge variety of stuff that they can have them work on, but so does Microsoft. So does Nintendo. This isn't a studio that's that is an average piece. I wanted to say some crazy stuff.
I know what you want to say. Jonathan B said you try to make him a side piece.
This is a studio that has a particular set of skills.
I'm done with you.
At the end of the day, sure, they might do that for in the future, but I would say their next game most definitely. They've been rumored to do the Metal Gear Solid game. That is a talent. Remaking older games is a huge talent, and I don't think so. Because first off, making games from scratch costs way more money than making.
They got the bag.
They got the bag, but look, they don't even want Days Gone to make the bag. They're you gonna do what we want you to do. I know you want to make Days Gone 2. You making a new IP, and it costs more money to make a new IP. So they're clearly not going to get the type of budget that they had with Days Gone. So to me, you have a winning formula that they've done, and they've done well. To me, Sony's not taking the risk to double the funding for that studio when they're making plenty of money doing what they're doing now, and they're being extremely successful.
There's one argument that you have that I cannot dispute. When obviously the Jason Schreier thing came out and we heard about Days Gone, right? Where you have a point is Sony's focus well, alleged focus. I should alleged, but it did come out. Shout out to Ryan. As far as the blockbuster focus, right? So when we heard about that, remember we did ILP, we was upset. We was like, yo, like, why are they not allowing Days Gone 2? Days Gone deserved the sequel, regardless of how you felt about it. It did well enough financially, and it scored pretty decently to deserve a sequel. So that's the question. The question becomes, do they do the status quo of the quote unquote Jim Ryan era, so to speak, of focusing on the blockbusters and doing that kind of thing? Or do you do the Microsoft approach, which is kind of like, have a variety, diverse lineup and allow them to be creative? But to your point, it so far, it seems like Microsoft, Sony has definitely kept them in that bag, and they're remastered the support and stuff like that. Me personally, I would like them to do new, at least a shot at one new IP at what their own vision could be.
I think Sony right now, especially, they're just gonna go. They're gonna take as less risk as possible. That's why they're having, Ben Studio make a new IP, most likely not on the same type of budget that Days Gone was. That's why they're making a Last of Us remaster or remake. Like they're taking the safety way. They taking the safety net, man.
It's chasing the bag too.
In I think in the baseball term, they're taking the hit from the ball so they can go straight to first base. Like,
you gotta do what you gotta do. You know what I'm saying? I mean, look, we can't deny, to your point, even though I still disagree, but to your point, we can't deny the success of their established IPs, right? Their established blockbusters. You know what I'm saying?
That's why I feel like they really will just keep the studio doing what they're doing, because they don't need those type of games. They got those games. Like the skill, and I want to highlight again, the skill that they have of being able to remake older games in such a high quality way.
Yeah, it's a talent.
It's not something that you can get anywhere, and they have such a mass bag of games that they can pull out of that it's like, they can be extremely diverse. They can be extremely agile in the market. When they're not locked down to one particular type of game, they're like, okay, you finished Demon Souls. We got that out. We're missing this type of game. But we have this from 20 years ago that we ain't made. Go make this. And then it's like I was saying when you lagged out, like, let's say that Sony decides we don't want them to make our games anymore. They can license out games from Capcom, like supposedly the Castlevania game. They can license out Castlevania. Go remake Symphony of the Dark, whatever the hell that game is called. Like, so I feel like they're more effective to them as doing something that they are really good at than it is for them to probably most likely double the budget that it would take to make these games to make something new, something fresh, because then they're gonna have to have multiple people working on stories, multiple people working on a world building environment. And to me, what I've seen Sony do, like, I agree with you, I want them to make a new game, but at the end of the day, I don't think of what they've shown me and what Sony has shown me that they're more. They want to give that kind of funding to the people going to make them that money, to like the Naughty Dogs, the Saint Monica's. Like, they want them people to have the balls to the wall budget, and they want to play it safe to get this easy return back.
To your point, again, even though I disagree, but you making some valid points in the sense of, you got to look at the rumors, right? I'm Team Ninja, and we're hearing about this Ghost of Tsushima, potential director's cut, right? Which is another, what is it? I guess we're going to consider it a remaster. They're saying a PlayStation 4 version, a PlayStation 5 version, whatever. So to defending your argument, if the focus seems to be in this direction of focus on a blockbuster remaster, then maybe that's what it is. I don't want it, but maybe that's what it is. Because I think that, like, if you got House, they go in there. What's up? Let's go.
This super chat, man.
Let's go. Anonymous Wild. Let's go.
$5 super chat from Anonymous. Definitely butchered your name. We're going to move right past that. So who will be the first media outlet that will ask Housemark, are they going to keep their games exclusive to PlayStation?
Shout out to my man Batty Play. Did you see his tweet?
Yeah. What's funny is, like, remember when we said last week, I was like, when it was some kind of studio. When we were talking about the Overwatch 2 not the Overwatch 2, the Sunset Overdrive 2,
Mhm.
and I was saying that if they were able to work away and get like the Spider-Man 2, like just snatch the license from Sony, and then Microsoft's making a Spider-Man 2, and Sony's making Sunset Overdrive 2, only one of those studios is going to get asked, are they exclusive? The other one's not. Like,
yo, it's same energy, right? Because it's Maddie had the perfect team. He's like, I don't know, guys. You know, after this foul spot, you know, we got to see if these games are gonna come over to Xbox. I was like, yo, Maddie being messy, son. It was S tier tweet as far as sarcasm.
I'm gonna have to talk to BitCloud, man. Next time he has Housemark on, I'm gonna have to be like, dude, you gotta ask them, man.
Yeah,
is this game exclusive to PlayStation?
Yeah, we gotta find out, because you know, if you spend this amount of money, there's a chance they gotta recoup. Man. Remember that? Remember, these games gotta be everywhere, man. People are funny.
It's like they can't risk. I mean, what's funny is they say Xbox can't risk the hundreds of million plus people on PlayStation, but PlayStation easily doesn't go to PC, and that's hundreds of millions of customers too. So it's just like, look, at the end of the day, sure, they're missing a lot of money, yes, but it's like I've said over and over again. Putting games on Xbox and PC does devalue the Xbox brand, but it's only to PC gamers. It's not to console gamers, because they're going to only play on console. To PC gamers, they're just like, look, you don't want our console anyway. You just want our game, and chances are you're only going to play one or two of our games anyway. So if we give it to you on your platform, you have a better chance of picking up the game anyway.
Yeah, shout out to Always Cola being messy. He said, when are we gonna get an apology from House? They silly. They said, but it's funny. It's funny to see, you know, how narrative shifts, you know, when it's your favorite that buys, you know, your favorite company that buys a studio and stuff like that. Again, we same energy, but look, it's a good move. You know, I am very curious to see what happens on our thoughts with if what they make next. You know, if they just, you know, continue to do the remaster thing, that'd be, we got to get the Flame. That's lordsofgaming.net. Get the Flame.
You got a $5 subscription from Flame. Ironically, the acquisition does not feel less impactful. Housemark has always made...
It does.
Oh, it does, Phil. Housemark has always made games for PlayStation. I got to wonder what actually changes.
That's a good point.
That's what I said. It's like the Undead Labs, the Playground games. They always made games for Xbox, so it didn't really... It wasn't impactful. It's mainly for making sure that these studios are going to be making games for them in 5 years. That's what these decisions have been made. Yeah. Then we got the $5 super chat from the Wise Old Gamer. Question: how much was the purchase because of talent? How much was motivated from the fear of Microsoft? I said it on Twitter and I got destroyed, Wise Old Gamer. I said they 100% went and bought these studios because, look, at the end of the day, it's like I said, Microsoft, Sony, and these studios, Housemark and Bluepoint, probably have a fantastic, huge type of relationship.
Yes.
But when you hand 20-30% above market value to these companies, they're gonna be like, Sony, you're not paying me this kind of money. Like,
Factual.
So you're gonna have to match it, or I'm gonna have to sell to Microsoft. Like,
Factual. Look, at the end of the day, it's business, right? It's big business. So it don't matter how good the relationship. When someone drop the bag, back the truck up, and say, "We want you," you know what I'm saying? Then
got to have you.
I got to have you. You know what I'm saying? It's cuffing season. You gotta, you know what I'm saying? So it's like you can't play no games right now. This is an acquisition phase. Game Pass is out here. You know, all these subscription models and things like that. You need content. You need games on the service, and if you don't have it, you know, big fellas out here. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Like Tencent is out here. You know, Amazon's still out here. You can't play these games. So lock it down. We all knew that this was a name that was always synonymous, like Flame said. So like you said, it's going to be interesting to see what actually changed behind the scenes. But this and Bluepoint,
this sense. Super chat's interesting. $5 super chat from Iron Mike. The only big purchase of these rumors 3 would be ArcSense, creators of Dragon Ball FighterZ, and the other two already make PS exclusive games anyway. You know what's interesting about that Arc game, or the Arc studio? I didn't know they made FighterZ because I don't keep up with fighters like that. They don't exist to me like that. But it's interesting because Sony owns Funimation and they're about to own Crunchyroll. And guess what Arc loves making? Anime fighters. And they own Funimation and soon to be Crunchyroll. Does that mean that they'll 100% be able to get the licensing for these games. No, but it's like Evo. When you have something such as Evo and something such as Funimation and Crunchyroll, these people who own these IPs aren't trying to piss you off. Like, so I think they'll easily be able, if they take that, I would say that first off, the next Dragon Ball Z Fighters 2 is going to be an exclusive to PlayStation, which is a big move because it's like I was saying with the Mortal Kombat thing. I was like, if Microsoft's not buying NetherRealm, Sony needs to make that acquisition themselves. And people was like, oh, they already have the fighter market. It never hurts to double dip in a market that you want to own.
Absolutely, especially with Sony with the commitment to the the Evo Fighting Championships. You know what I'm saying? Sony has been in that bag as far as keeping fighting alive. You can't take that away from them. So, being that we was on another realm thing, I don't know if we're transitioning yet, but that's something I want Microsoft to if it's possible, to seriously consider, because you got Killer Instinct out here that need a developer, because Phil already put that out there that they're still looking for that. And I think that's Microsoft's Achilles heels. Besides just one, they need fighters. They don't have a lot of fighters, man.
To be honest with you, like, we'll go ahead and transition. Like, all right, so my next topic, it's like I said, there's a lot of stuff going on with the Xbox. There's a lot of speculation going on. And I want to know, like, top 3 things that you want from Microsoft in the future. It could be studio acquisitions. It could be games. It could be anything in related to that matter. What if you was over there and Phil sat you down and he's like, Cog, what can we do? like I want the Cog way. Let's of what we can do to get this back to where it was going.
I mean, they doing it right now. Like they doing the the studio acquisition stuff, right? Because you got to create the content. First is always going to be #just1. And for those who don't know, who are in here, all 240, y'all hit the like button. My man Attic out here, the Young Wolf, doing his thing with this show. So what I was going to say is, like, the reason why I'm so animate, right, is because Sony fan base and Sony's success, a lot of it, we can't deny, it was predicated on the fact that those third-person cinematic, over-the-shoulder type games did well for them. I'm not telling Microsoft to do their whole lineup like that. They have a diverse lineup. Just make one. They need something for the new generation. You know what I'm saying? So that's that. It's just games, bro. It literally, the games got to be quality, man. Quality games. Give them time to cook. I want them to continue this diversity as far as Game Pass and as far as the lineup, the Japanese games, things that we were talking about in reference to that. I want Game Pass to have its tendrils everywhere. I know we kind of seeing it right now with, the TVs, and we're seeing it with mobile, and we're seeing it with all these different things. But I don't. You know what they got to do? They got to do a better job of marketing Game Pass to the casual. I mean, I know Twitter right now is kind of lit with it, so that's funny. But you know what I'm saying? Like, Joe Blow down the street sometimes don't know what Game Pass is. You see what I'm saying? Like, a lot of people still don't know. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to the Wise Old Gamer. Hellblade 2 does not count as just one, because technically it's a sequel, even though I know it fits the genre, but that's why Wise Old Gamer. But I think that's the first 2 things. I like the diversity. I like the commitment to power. I like what Game Pass is a deal. And I like that Microsoft is involved. They're literally doing it, to be honest. It's like, it's just quality games. It's just, now the game's got to hit.
Your point is, like, they've set the track. The train's on it. It's just, you got to make sure the track is finished. Like, the train can't derail in the middle of the transportation.
Facts. You got to close the deal, because you could do all this studio buying, and if these games ain't, it's overall whatever, even though I don't care about Metacritic like that, but if the I go with the Metacritics of 70 and 60s, the fanboys or whatever feeling they get their feelings, but the games got it. They need those critically acclaimed. Like, when you go to the Games Award and you're like, yo, 2 Microsoft titles was up for Game of the Year. Like, they need that. But
that's why they bought that Kojima thing.
For sure.
Hey, Kojima, we get Keeley off the top.
You stealing my master plan. Master plan.
It's like well, we need these games getting Game of the Year. It's like, someone call Kojima.
Yeah, man. Now they do. They need because again, let's be real, the game's narrative is almost dead. They ain't got no game. That's almost out of here, right? So now it just comes down to the new thing is gonna be, yo, how many critically acclaimed games you have? How many games that move the needle? How many games that people say, yo, that was one of the games of the generation? They need that. And I know Halo's gonna do what Halo do. I know Forza's gonna do what Forza do. Gears gonna do what Gears do. But we need the new IPs for the new generation that we go, yo, these are fire. You know what I'm saying? And I think they got diversity down, and they still the best deal in gaming. So they're gonna be around. They're gonna be around for sure.
I think.
What about you? What you think? What they need to do?
What needs to be done is, I think the diversity needs to get a little bit better. I think they need to reach out, if they're able to, by NetherRealm to make a Killer Instinct, regardless if they feel like the fighter market's lost to them, because I think it's lost to them. But I think they need it, at this point, they need their own exclusive. That's the only thing they can do to even remotely fix that. And I don't think it'll ever be fixed, because what people don't realize, that relevancy of Sony buying Evo. Sony owns the head-to-head market now.
Huge.
And to me, it's like, so, you're not going to be able to really hit that market huge. But what you can do is you have to make the best game in that market.
Yes.
And it's like you make sure the money's right, the talent's right, and Killer Instinct. And if they're able to get Mortal Kombat, you'll own Mortal Kombat and Killer Instinct.
Facts.
You supply that studio enough to make two teams, and they're dropping out Mortal Kombat and Killer Instinct every 2 years. And then the years between the 2 years is a Mortal Kombat versus Killer Instinct. And I feel like, you can't beat them. You might as well make the majority of the games that comes into that genre. It's like, look, you want to always be in the talk. You're not going to be the best. You're not going to be the Street Fighters. You're not going to be the the Guilty Gears. I don't know the fighter mark. I'm throwing out names.
Yeah.
But at the Tekkens, but you want to always be, regardless if you can't be in that room because you don't really have a say, you want to have a player in that room that's always being talked about. It's like, yo, Killer Instinct was lit. Like, you always want to have this conversation. So we got a $5 shepherd from Chivo Walker. I butchered your name again, man. I apologize for that. I definitely butchered that one so much. We are going to not. We're not moving past that. I gotta apologize for that one again. What do you think about the announcement that Xbox is the official home of Battlefield 2042? It's a good move. It just depends on what type of original home are they talking about? Official home? Is it? Are they going to name that Game Pass day and date in a couple months? Like, because to me, if you're going to make sure you're the official home, you need something that makes your home look more better than the other home. So it's like, if they literally just get the marketing rights, that's not really a home. That's like a billboard outside that goes through all the neighborhood. Like, you see the whole thing.
For the casuals, sometimes, they get, a lot of people think it's synonymous with
they need like exclusive DLC or first on things.
Wait, are you engaging in practices that's gonna lock things away? Oh, that's what we doing?
Look, man, like, I'm just being real. Like, I'm saying that when it comes to this place being the home, I feel like being home means there's something unique at that home that makes it the home.
Oh, so you want exclusive guns and maps?
That's not going to happen because Phil don't believe in exclusive DLCs. But to me, if it's going to be the home, it needs to have a reason why you would consider that home. Like, back in the day, Call of Duty, you had 30 days of the DLC first on Xbox. That's why people consider that the home of Call of Duty. Because
how long we locking the Battlefield maps? How long we locking them?
Man,
for a year?
for what Sony's done with me and their trend, I don't want to ever have them have it. Like, but that's not my decision. It's like, at the end of the day, I'd love for Microsoft to walk in there and just catch just sit there like those old mobster movies where they just kept like the elevator on fire and then it just goes up in blaze and then Microsoft just looks at Sony's like, you're not going up there. Like, but it is what it is. I hope Battlefield's a good game because I've always liked Battlefield. I kind of fell off the past couple entries. I don't like the old stuff, and then I didn't really like Battlefield 5. I didn't like Battlefield 1, Battlefield 5. I like Battlefield 4. I'm hoping this game brings Battlefield back to what it used to be.
Yes.
And we'll have to see, man. We'll have to see. So, okay, let me continue with mine. All right, so we talked about the diversity. Like, we get the head-to-head fighters. I honestly feel like they need their own JRPG studio. And I feel like it's like Phil Spencer said when he was over there, and they said, you know, your system's not on our shelves. I feel like low key they might not tell him openly, but it's like you don't even support our brand enough to have your own studio in our country. So it's just like Japan, and then I guess they technically have one now because of the acquisition with, but to me, like, they don't really make JRPGs. They make like horror game stuff. Like, like that's a good way to get a ground in there where you can branch out and you can buy something else. But at the end of the day, they need a JRPG because to me, JRPGs is what made the industry what it is now. Back in the day, the Final Fantasies, the Chrono Triggers, the Dragon Quest, like those games, they might not have necessarily, you know, made the other genres, but they made those genres so popular that people was more comfortable exploring other genres. Right. So,
I'm sorry. I just want to. Wise Old Gamer is feeling everything you talk about. He throwing it up. He like, thank you, Addict. Thank you. That's what I'm talking about. What about this? To your point, which I like. What about cultivate and develop your own studio in Japan to do said task?
They could do that, but they're gonna have to get a heavy hitter to lead it, because I don't.
What about that? What about that Kojima? What if Kojima?
I don't want Kojima touching JRPGs. Let him over there be in his little. He can be in whatever realm he decides to be in. I can't see him making a JRPG, but I don't know what this man like. Whatever it is, it's gonna be creepy. Like dude, I get enough of that from what's that game? From Kingdom Hearts. I don't need no more blow my mind off. But Kingdom Hearts has been blowing my mind off for 15 years. I don't need no more of it.
All right, so just that wacky, over the top. You don't want none of that. You don't want him to go full Kojima on your JRPG.
You never go full Kojima. So you know, and you know, nothing takes away from the stuff he's done in the industry.
Right, but you just don't want him in that genre.
It's just like, I think he's better off in the genre. To be honest with you, I think he needs to go to TV and movie.
I mean,
I think he needs to get out of the gaming industry, because his mind is more of like, I'm gonna make a TV show. I'm gonna make a movie. I think that's something he would do.
No, great. I feel you. And he has a lot of those Western influences. Obviously, whatever in pop culture he knows. Obviously, when Walking Dead was popping, he got Norman Reedus. You know what I'm saying? You know, Daryl Dixon and all that. I guess maybe the Kojima thing was wrong as far as him being a choice for JRPGs. But what I mean is, like, they do need a popular face that's respected over there to run it and say, okay, such and such is over there. Let's just say, for example, you know the Final Fantasy guys better than your Final Fantasy game.
Well, the original creators, right? The original creator of Final Fantasy made Mistwalker, but they've been in their own little world. Like,
I get it.
The best thing that they could do. There's a couple of scenarios that they could remedy this. One is buying Sega, because then they wouldn't need to do anything ever again. Like, they would own the entire Japanese, like, not the Japanese market, but they would have a good pulse on it. They would own Persona, Valkyrie Chronicles. That's a turn-based game. They would own that. They would own the Yakuzas, and Like a Dragon's doing really good, so they would own that.
How we feel about that.
And I think that one purchase would be enough to get their foot in that market.
That's
and keep
why
it.
I want Sega. That's why, and it's the perfect marriage. They've already. That's on my list. But how did I forget of what I want for? I want Sega. I'm a Sega kid. Of course I want Sega. What's wrong with me? So yeah, like that. It's the perfect marriage. And Sega already has that history. They've already kind of been working nice together, synonymous. They got rid of the Pachinko division. Yo, get it. Let's go. Let's go.
Let's imagine if they came out next year at E3, or even maybe EXO this E3, and they show Persona 6 on their stage, and at the end of it, Atlas, like, it pops up. You know how that black weird screen they be doing? It says Atlas, and then it just like, pow, Microsoft Studio at the right, and then like it zooms up, and all the rest of the Sega Studio shows up, and it says Microsoft Studio.
You're gonna see grown man tears for me, bro. I'm telling you, that's my heart. That's my Sega. Like, I'm a Sega kid from day one. Hey, and had that happen, man.
You know what's gonna happen though, man. The first interview with Sega. Are these exclusive?
Because we got to make sure that you can recoup.
And then you know what else though? You know another thing, like I've never seen the value of Game Pass that for $1 you can get 3 months and you can get all the Sega games.
Bro, I'm just thinking about the lineage of Sega titles that could also be brought back with a modern twist. Then you talk about the JRPG stuff.
And
Then you talk about the
we're not
creators.
even talking about Sonic.
Man. We ain't even go there. That's what I'm saying. And the marketing blitz. Imagine Xbox, like Microsoft, put some money behind. Man, don't get me started, bro. Like that's the dream right there. I need that to happen, man. That would be okay. You win in generations now for me.
I personally feel like right now probably Microsoft is their division. Like, look, we have games that we 100%. Studios we trust 100%, not necessarily trust 100%, but they have a lot of faith in the Obsidians. They have faith in, you know, the Initiative, Coalition. They got these studios are like their gold tier ones, man. It's like the favorite child. Like these are the ones that don't get asked to sit in the middle ground, man. They're not kicked out of the Thanksgiving table, man. They're not asked to leave the room. Like these are the ones that help mom make the dinner, like, and you know, and then the other studios, the Undead Labs, the Compulsions, they're great studios, but I feel like Microsoft, they're wanting to do what Sony done with their games for years. They want to really, you know, go over all these studios with a fine-tooth comb, like let them make the games, let them find out good scenarios that they can make the games, help them nurture these studios up to where maybe in 5 years, Ninja Theory's making on par Naughty Dog level games because they nurtured these studios. They let them build internally because you can't, like, sure, they kind of nurtured themselves, but when you're always worrying about your stuff being shut down and you're always you're having to split your stability, you're having to split your studio up into like 8 different things to make 6 or 7 different games. It's hard to really nurture a studio that way. We got a couple super chats real quick. We got a $5 super chat from Lucius. Augustus. We need soft. He be. Maybe it's the Spanish in him because I'm too white to read stuff, man. Like
when he get that Latino lingo going, he be flowing.
We got $5 super chat. Sega means Yakuza, Persona, and Jet Set Radio. I really want Sega to be a part of Microsoft. Sega and Microsoft would take down Sony. I'm not gonna go out there and say they're gonna take Sony down. He going for the world. He going for it all. But I will say that's one of those things that Sony gonna have to like scratch. What's funny is, you know, Colin said on his last podcast, he says that he thinks Elder Scrolls 6 is going to be on PlayStation. You know why he says that? Because he is convinced that Game Pass is going to be on PlayStation by that game.
Oh, okay, I get it. So you thinking big.
So we got a $5 super chat from Rubber Knob. Imagine coming up with the final boss in Halo Infinite. It's a Sonic teamed up with Crash.
He loose. Get him. He loose.
That sounds like a Kingdom Hearts fight. So let's go a little bit with the direction and the diversity. You know, you get that diverse, you get that JRPGs, you get that fighter market, and then, you know, you make sure that you're building 1 or 2 to 3 studios to make those those third-person action adventure games that Cog wants. You know, he wants one. I don't necessarily think that they have to be a new IP. I just think it has to be a good game. Like, people are going to look over that. I mean, it is what it is. I know we disagree with that. I've always no, you can have both. I just feel like in terms of people want good games, and I think the people that would try to discredit, like, let's say Hellblade comes out and it's a phenomenal game, 90
it's going to do what it do.
It's going to do fine. I do think people would resonate more with a newer IP, but I think at the end of the day, as long as it's a good game, people are going to gravitate towards that the most.
I agree. You're right. But to me, we were just talking about what we want, right? We talk about what would be dominant. You know, there is a little truth. I'm not going to get caught up with fanboy narrative, but there is a little truth that, I shouldn't say truth. There's a little fear that, when Microsoft acquires you, you're not going to make the same level quality game as a new IP, right? So to me, that's why it's important Starfield hits. It's important anything under the Xbox Game Studios umbrella that's new hits, because you crush that narrative. Right now, they're crushing their Game Pass narrative. They're crushing the power narrative. They need that one narrative, because then you can't say it anymore that, see what happened underneath the Microsoft banner. Look, see, they putting out this less than quality stuff, and they were better off for their. That's some narratives people run with.
You know what the crazy part? I truly believe that the people over there in Compulsion can make that game.
Oh, of course, I know it.
I think that happen. Like, because they're so good at story, right? Like people, I know a lot of people, they kind of look down on We Happy Few, and rightfully so. There was a lot of issues with We Happy Few, and a lot of it wasn't their fault. They went from a what's it like? From a crowdfunding game, they had to change it up because they got a publisher. There were so many issues with that game. But look, I'm not telling you guys to go out there and 100% give We Happy Few a chance. What I'm telling you is go give the expansions a chance, because those kind of went away from the survival aspects of We Happy Few, and they're story orientated and they're dark as hell. They're good. So we got two $5 super chats real quick. Taylor Blaze, I think if Microsoft acquires Take-Two, that's generations. If they acquire Take-Two, imagine what Twitter would be like. Twitter would be on fire. It would be over. I would literally take the day off of work. I'd have to call my boss, be like, yo, I got to call in because I got to watch Twitter be on fire. Twitter would implode, outplode, catch on fire, then implode again. All in a matter of like 10 minutes.
You want to see the world burn.
I
do.
That's
all
that's all this is. No, just imagine if that happened. It would be phenomenal.
You want to see grown men get their feelings. That's what you want to see.
Yeah, so we got $5 super chat from Lord Maxi. Microsoft should make a new Mace fighting game or Karuto Chunkin. You have to read that. I cannot. That seems like a you kind of phrase.
He said Microsoft should make a new Mace fighting game or Kakuto Chojin Tao Fang Fist of the Lotus. Okay, some real Channel 5 Kung Fu flick. You know what I'm saying? Vibes. Okay. You know what I'm saying? I'm all about it.
I was not reading none of that, man. I wasn't butchering 8 things. All right, man. I see what you guys are doing. He's like, Addict can't pronounce certain things, so let's hit him with like 8 of them. I saw that
back to back.
Yeah, so that's all I want. And it's like, look, I guess the biggest thing I want for them is like, look, make sure we don't have another presenting that we saw last year with Halo. I don't care what kind of game it is. Clearly what we saw last year, I do really think that a lot of the reason that happened last year was because of the pandemic. I don't think that, because you got to remember when E3, that July event happened last year, it was in the middle, like dead ass in the middle of this whole pandemic.
Facts.
And I think they didn't have a whole lot they could do at that time. I'm not giving as an excuse to that, because there should have been someone at the top that's like, we should probably delay the presentation. But at the end of the day, it's like I said on podcast last year, that wasn't a scenario that I don't think no one would have gave them a pass for.
Everybody's affected, and we can't act like they're not, right? You know what I'm saying? We're seeing, even with, the Returnal situation, we talked about House Mark, we had some issues there. We had some issues with Halo Infinite as far as showing, I know people don't like to hear it, but working under a pandemic is difficult as a development studio. You know what I'm saying? Working remotely is not the same as being in the same room collaboratively. It's like, and I just love how gamers just poo-poo that. I don't care. This thing was broken. And, and it's like, bro, it's like at the end of the day.
You know what's funny? Yeah. It was, we're not going to give them that excuse. Because it's like I said yesterday on Colt's podcast. Definitely go check that out, you guys. But me and Cog was on there. I was only on there for like 35 minutes because my internet.
You had the internet joint that I have.
But we talked about CGI being shown at an E3, and I said this year they get a pass, because at the end of the day, like, you could see that the pandemic affected that whole E3 this year. That's why you saw certain studios like Ubisoft showing very few gameplay. There wasn't a lot of gameplay at all at E3 because they don't have access to the studios like they do. So, like right now, people are finally going back to studios, and we just got vaccines like 2 or 3 months ago. Like they're just recently started going back to the studios.
Starting to rest slowly, and even that is still different. You still got the social distance. You still got a certain amount of things you could do. It's slowly getting back. We might not see the ramifications, 2022, 2023.
And that's
all studios are getting affected.
That's what I thought was funny, because people was like, oh, Sony doing it, Sony doing it,
Oh,
Sony
remember
doing
that?
it.
Yeah.
But then when Horizon didn't get a release date, when God of War got pushed back, and then when they came out openly and said, "Yo, we don't know if Horizon's coming out this year."
They
Notice
literally,
no one's
yeah,
saying about the COVID thing
exactly.
anymore.
Because
It's like
again,
as long as if Sony doesn't get the pass, they feel like no one should get the pass.
right.
And if Sony does get the pass, they should feel like everyone should get the pass.
It's just people trying to twist their own narratives because they fanboy is showing. And when you let your fanboy show, you know what I mean, at the end of the day, instead of just being a gamer and actually being realistic about the situation, as if your company and your studio is absolved from, you know, we don't have any problems over here. I don't know what's going on with Microsoft. You know what I'm saying? Like, once you get into that bag and you don't look at the realistic situation, you're always blinding yourself. So that's why, in a way, I never wish anything bad on anyone, but it was good that it happened because people could see, yes, even Sony, even Nintendo, yeah, everyone is affected. So people just got to stop. That's
So
all.
here's my big. We're about to move on to the last topic, but I want to ask you right now, what is the one game that has been announced that you feel like is going to hold the most weight at Microsoft? Like that means the most. That game comes out. What?
I already know. You talking about this year or just the future?
Future at all. Like all the games that's been announced. Which one you think is going to do the most numbers, and what game you think is going to mean the most? So that's two different ones.
I think Starfield is going to be very much important. I think Starfield is critical, and the reason being is this is 18 Bethesda. We know the exclusivity, right? There's a little bit of pressure there. There's, you know, I mean, let's just put it this way. We just talked about impact. If Starfield is a Game of the Year contender underneath the Microsoft brand, that's powerful. Now, this year I would say Halo, but I mean, at this point, Halo's already, even if Halo tripped a little bit, it's still Halo. People still gonna have love for it. We know what Halo is. We don't know what Starfield is. And if Starfield is revolutionary, and it puts Bethesda back, because let's be real, the narrative is like, you know, after Fallout 76, they lost a little tarnish on their star, right? Just a little bit, right? Fallout 4, me and you would go, I mean, you put me on, you were like, Cog, that ain't Fallout 3. They dumbed it down a little bit with the systems. You used to be very passionate.
Todd Howard came out and said that this is going to be more towards their core.
Right.
So,
and we kind of know what, last point, we kind of know what Elder Scrolls is. You know, we get that Fallout. The next one, we know what that is. But if they could establish a new IP for the new generation, that's fire. That's critically acclaimed. And now you only get that on Microsoft. Man, that hits different. What you think?
All right, so let me get these two super chats.
Yeah, go for it.
We got a $5 super chat from Bernard Miller. Shout out Lord Cog and Addict. Just a bullet for the chamber for a Sega purchase. The highest rated publisher from 2020 is Sega. Microsoft was the 4th and PS was the 5th. I love how they had to put PlayStation.
They had to put PlayStation slander.
So we got a $2 super chat from Carlos. Sony has no roadmap for the remainder of the year. I think it's actually debatable, Carlos, in terms of a PlayStation 5 exclusive scenario. Right. That Xbox actually has. Yeah, Xbox actually I think has more next gen exclusive titles. It's probably going to come out in the next couple of years.
We got to wait for that Sony show. I'm very curious to see what they actually talk about.
So when it comes to the games, I feel like
what you think?
I got 3. I think that Starfield is the most important in terms of building up hype. And I think Starfield is important for 2 reasons, because it's going to validate next year that this is the reason you need an Xbox, and it's going to pretty much like go in there and spring clean Bethesda, like, because it's like once you spring clean Bethesda, it's like, look, like 76 was a fluke, like this isn't how we roll, and I feel like once they show people this is our product, 76 we just helped with. Sure, that's still under our brand. We have to take that, but this studio didn't make that game.
Right. This is 18. They gotta establish that though, because people would talk greasy.
I think the second one, ironically, is Fable, because I think Fable, and it's not just like me being biased.
It's not just because
Fable is. I feel like I've been told Fable, they have just as much budget behind Fable as they do Halo. They want Fable to be the next pillar of Xbox, and I think that when it comes to that, they want RPGs to be the front and center for Xbox, and they want Fable to be in the front of that because that's why they had Playground making it. Like Playground was gonna go, they were gonna do something completely different, and the ideal of Fable is the reason that Microsoft bought them because they had an ideal with one of their brands. And the third one is Elder Scrolls 6.
Ooh.
Because I think that if Elder Scrolls 6 is anything like Skyrim, Skyrim to this day completely changed that genre. And imagine if we have a similar scenario that happens with 6, maybe even on a bigger scale because we're on newer gen technology, like way newer gen technology, and it's an exclusive. Like people, we've never had an exclusive Elder Scrolls game, and we're about to. Imagine
Morrowind was at the time.
Technically, you could count that because it couldn't run on the PlayStation. Right. So I'm curious to see what happens there. I'm curious to see who's working on Fallout.
Yeah.
Because I don't think they're working on Fallout. I think another studio is working on Fallout. I just don't know who. Because to me, I feel like Bethesda Software was making Fallout because they had to make Fallout.
What if you get In Exile's back in the building?
I'm okay with that. Let Exile make it.
Exile's back in the building.
Because I think they can easily do that.
Also, Obsidian's back in the building.
I don't want Obsidian to make Fallout.
You don't know New Vegas?
I love Vegas, but to me,
Obsidian, right down the hall, apartment 2B.
It's not that.
You don't want to go hit up apartment 2B?
To me, Obsidian has fought so hard
to be on their own,
to get their own IPs and get their own branding. That's why they noticed Outer Worlds 2 got announced probably 2 years before it comes out. Avowed's probably coming out in the next year, the beginning of the year after that. They have fought so hard to get to this point.
To get their own individual.
I don't want Microsoft. Obviously, if they agree to it, then that's one thing. But I low-key want them to work on their own branding.
I feel that.
And you can see that there's clearly a rivalry going on between them and Bethesda.
You know what's funny? We talk about rivalry. We talk about Obsidian. Let's be real. They signed not knowing that Bethesda would be down with the team. What's funny is, what if Avowed is the Elder Scrolls Game of the Year type killer? Like, what if it's Avowed? That would be an interesting twist.
If Starfield comes out in November and Avowed comes out like March of the next year, because of that's around the time Avowed would come out. Like around the beginning
put pressure
of
on Bethesda, be like, yo, who's the king of the RPG? That would be crazy. It's fun,
then I can see the Outer Worlds 2 coming out in like 2024, the beginning of 2024. Like it's like we've said on the Iron Lords podcast multiple times, people aren't ready what's about to happen. And especially a lot of these like crazy, fanboys that live and breathe the console war stuff on Twitter. You're not prepared for the spirit bombs Microsoft has been making for 8 years.
They cooking.
And it could blow up in their face, man. It could be one of those things where they about to throw that spirit bomb and he just drops it and falls on top of him.
Like I said, the main thing I said, the games gotta be quality. The games have to hit. You got the resources, you got the money. Now produce. And if you do what you're supposed to do, it's all set up for them. It's literally set up for them to do this thing, man. It's a layup. They gotta complete it. You know what I'm saying?
And speaking of all the games that we talked about, all these reasons that they could really use this franchise, by the time these bigger games are coming out, the Fables, the Elder Scrolls 6s, the Starfields, I honestly feel like Xcloud will be in a position to where you could be on the bus playing Avowed. And I think that the longer time goes by, it's going to be more accessible in terms of how you play it on your phone. Because like right now, I don't think it is accessible, but I think in the next couple years, you're going to see 5G rolling out. You're going to see better accessories to make it easier to roll out. And I think once you see this going out, that's when people are going to see where Microsoft's vision was. Their vision was Game Pass as the center, and then Xbox is a pillar to have access to Game Pass. Xcloud's a pillar to have access to Game Pass. They're doing it on your browsers to have access to Game Pass.
That's the underrated one.
Do you think that when this comes out and Xcloud is rolling out and all these games are rolling out, and then you're able to just go on the bus, especially in other countries that don't have the room for a console? I honestly, I want to know your opinion, Saul. Do you think that that's when Game Pass doubles, maybe even triples in subscriber rates?
I think the Trojan horse also. I think soft talk. The browser, bro. I think we sleeping on the browser because as much as we clown Stadia or whatever, that was a huge advantage. Just being able to pull up Chrome, Microsoft Internet Explorer, and you're gaming in a browser on your laptop or your desktop, which has the stabler connection. You know what I'm saying? And you don't have to be relying on 5G or anything. Yo, that's a big deal. And there's going to be markets that's applied to the mobile we talked about. You know what I'm saying? With certain markets like China and Japan or whatever, that's another thing. I agree. I think that when you hit that mobile market and you hit all these different demographics, and the other thing is TVs. Smart TVs is a big deal. When you get that new TV, you got all those apps. You got your YouTubes, you got your Hulus, you got all that. If that Xbox app is right there front and center, who's not to say, yo, you know what? Let me see what that is. I don't got a console, but let me see what that is.
You know what they're going
to
do?
And then boom, you're hooked.
They're going to work with cell phone providers to be like, look, if you're part of AT&T, you get Game Pass for free. And the reason they would do something like that is because they want it to be one of those tiers to where they can work out something with AT&T, get a little bit of kickback in terms of money or but they want it because when people look at those plans, they'll be like, "What's this Xbox Game Pass Xcloud thing here?
What is it?"
And then when the AT&T people describe this service to them, oh, I can play games on my phone.
And
yeah,
then,
let's do
you
that.
Just incentivize it. You just be like, "Yo, sign up for AT&T, whatever. You get your new phone already. The 3 months already Game Pass. Here you go. The Xcloud Game Pass Ultimate. Here you go. There's no reason for you not to try it. So it's up to them to incentivize it as part of these deals with TVs, phones, and stuff.
What AT&T would probably do, and like companies like that, is if you play XCloud, it doesn't go against your data. So I could totally see Microsoft working out scenarios like that. So we got a $5 super chat from the Wise Old Gamer. Shout out to Wise Old Gamer, man. I'm glad you're feeling better, and I'm glad everything worked out with you.
Bro, for real.
Composure Studio game will have the largest impact if it hits. You have a former indie studio making a critically acclaimed triple IP. Oh, the optics. And I agree with you. Like, because when it comes to smaller studios, they generally don't have like a tunnel vision sight. Like a lot of these bigger studios, 343 Coalition, they've been making the same game so long that they have a tunnel vision of how that game needs to be made.
Right.
We got a $5 super from Chill Walker. It is Flight Simulator because once it runs smooth on Little Man, yes, Little Man won the thing.
Little Man, I told you Little Man was gonna win that emoji.
Yes, we're going to speed some type of emoji and put it on there. It won. Addict Show was second. And what's funny is I had people in the comment section arguing what needed to have it. So Xbox, Little Man, that Xbox tech that they have been trying to develop to sign up will explode. And I agree with you on that. Yeah. I agree with you. And it's just like, to me, that's when you're going to see stuff be different. That's when, we're talking about over the seas, because I think that's what Xcloud was made for, was over the seas to get in the Asian markets. Like once it casualizes in the Western markets, like imagine Fortnite to the 10th degree. Like people could just bring out their phone and play Minecraft, play Elder Scrolls 6.
Bro, like, you said it yourself. I'm older. I guess you're considered a millennial. I'm considered Generation X or whatever, right? You said it yourself. Like Zach, your bro, right? Your little bro. He's doing things on his phone. Like these kids are on the phone. Like they're not playing the games that we consume them.
Right?
It's a different generation.
They play Roblox on their phone. They don't even play on console.
They don't even play on a console. So it's like at the end of the day, again, that's why the play for Microsoft is smart. The key is the marketing and the access, just to make sure everyone knows what it is and that it's accessible. You could get into the ecosystem, and they could definitely hit that demographic they missed out on.
Yeah, so that's pretty much all I had today, man. It's like, look, at the end of the day, we'll brush up a little bit on the PlayStation stuff. Like, I like that because it's competition. I like PlayStation going out there. They're going to buy studios, and Microsoft is going to buy studios. Obviously, Microsoft's going to buy more, but that's besides the point. they're all gonna have things. And for people who don't think PlayStation's not gonna go towards the streaming thing, you're highly mistaken. They're making their own little versions of it. And I'm sure there's some people somewhere out there making it. We got a $10 super chat from Smitty Smith. Salute to the Lords and shout out to Little Man.
It's coming. King probably wanted Series S with some arms on it. He wanted something. King is good with the vision, so we're gonna let King come up with the concept of what Little Man.
Probably because what I don't want is if certain members, if we lose some members next month, I don't want that getting us back down to where we can't have another emote.
Right.
So what we'll probably do is we have a bunch of emotes on standby. We'll put a temporarily emote there just so we can grab it and know it won't get lost. And then once it's done, we'll just change it.
Right. Smart. Big Cloud Gaming, what's going on, bro? What's going on?
So that's the show. I've been doing this a little bit more frequently here. I'll be back next week.
We should have had Big Cloud in here. Yeah, House Mark War too.
Yeah, definitely everyone in the chat, man. Big Cloud actually interviewed House Mark.
Yeah,
and you know what? I'm angry he didn't ask, is this going to be exclusive? So, how dare you, the audacity, Big Cloud, that you didn't have the foresight to go out there and know that they were being bought. We got a $5 super chat from Big Cloud Gaming. Bow to that PlayStation greatness.
You talking that PlayStation talk? Let's go. I see y'all out here moving. Y'all, it's cuffing season. Y'all cuffing them up. You know what I'm saying? That's smart.
It's cuffing. Is that what we're calling it?
That's what we call it. You got to cuff them up before it get cold. Summertime. You know what I'm
saying? Man, we say some crazy stuff sometimes. Man. We really do.
Lord's talk. You know we do.
All right. So here, what I want you guys to do, man, is here is Big Cloud's channel. Go over there, man. And he's interviewed the people over there. Ironically, the studios that they just bought.
The studios they bought. Why House Mark and Blue Point.
He did great interviews, man. Go over there, show them some love, man. We'll be back on ILP this Sunday at 1 p.m. Keep in mind, Tuesday on the 6th, we're going to be streaming Sea of Thieves, so I'm sure some of you going to enjoy that. And until next time, this is Gaming Addict and Cognito. What are you doing? Are you going to announce where the thing you're doing today?
No.
no, the Destiny.
Oh, my bad. Okay, I thought you were talking about something else.
No, yeah. I wasn't talking about that.
Oh, yeah, I was like, bro, no, cold red. Nah, you good. Yeah, shout out. It's not gonna be live, but shout out to the Destiny show, man. They've been killing it, and they about to have Pete Parsons on. You know what I'm saying, the CEO. But they asked me to do something different. They're doing a creative series, so I'm gonna rock out with Korn and them dudes. So that will probably go up at some point. But this is just a heads up. It's gonna be one of the last weeks of my podcast tour because Carl needs some rest, you know what I'm saying? But I had to do the Addict show, the Wolf and the Ninja team. I was like, I ain't even been on the Addict show. I was like, that got to change, you know what I'm saying? So we got to do that. And you'll see a little bit more of it in the future. I want to definitely pop in when I have time, when things are not as busy. But salute the Addict, salute to y'all showing support for the Wolf, and I like what he's doing. So yeah, and the round showed out today, man. Salute.
Yeah, we'll definitely